Okay, welcome to today's video lesson, which is on the breadboard. The breadboard, as you can see here in this picture, is also referred to as a proto board, and its main purpose is for testing and building circuits. So before we actually produce or finalize or manufacture a circuit, they can be produced and built on these nice breadboards because it allows us to remove parts from the little holes that you see there. You can take things out and put things in and change things up so that it's not permanent. It's a very useful educational tool, and it's something that has been used in computer engineering classes for a number of years. The breadboard's divided up into different sections. So the top and bottom rails here, you see the blue rails, which signify negative. So you can see the negative sign next to those two blue rails. And the two positive rails below that in red. So you can see them highlighted there on the top and the bottom. And those are for connecting to the positive and negative sides of the battery. So that's what brings in our current, our voltage, our power to power up our circuits essentially. All right, it's also broken up into what are called rows and columns. So the middle portion is divided into columns that are numbered from 1 to 60, and you can see that those columns travel in a a vertical fashion, much like if you look at an Excel spreadsheet, you've got rows and columns in there. I think in Excel, I believe the top columns are in lettered and the rows are numbered, whereas in a breadboard, they're opposite. And you can see that in the bottom as well. Okay, they're also numbered and lettered here. All right, how electricity flows. This is a different breadboard picture, but it's the same basic principle. What's really important that you understand in a breadboard is how current travels in the different sections. The first thing that you need to understand is that they travel horizontally on the rails. So those top and bottom rails, on the previous slide you saw two rails, a positive and negative. Here you only see one. But the idea is all those are connected, okay, horizontally, and on the bottom as well. And then in the middle, you can see that those holes are connected vertically, okay? And that's very different for the way that you set up your breadboard and the way you build your circuits. All right, as a continuation of that last part of the video, I wanted to show you a real breadboard. And I wanted to show you the underside of it so you can visualize those different sections. And it's crucial that you understand that so you understand how current and really how those electrons flow inside that breadboard. So I ripped one apart and I want to show that to you. So this is the underside. So it's the same breadboard except I have taken the backing off, which is just surrounded by this. You can see the plastic mold here, but it's these little pieces of conductive material are inserted inside each of these places. Now, what's important to note about that, if I just show you the removed piece here of the center, is that you can see now what I was saying earlier about these middle parts here. Okay, all these middle parts here, and there's several, okay, on the top half and the bottom half, that are all connected. So if I was to remove one of them, because I've got them actually all removed here, you can see if I just take one of these out, as I'll do right now, okay, I'll take a couple out here so you can see them, and it has this little pincher to it. So I'll show you with my finger here, sort of squeezes like that, and what it does is it secures things like wire, for example. I'm putting this in here inside. Okay, so you can see how that works, and it keeps it there. All right, so if I turn it on another angle so you can see it, just to lay it down, there are exactly 5 holes, okay, or 5 pinchers that are connected all together. And you can see why this part, okay, if I move this over, if I was to put it back some into the breadboard, you can see it right here. I can just insert it right in, and this just proves our original point that current travels, okay, or the electrons travel vertically. They're connected. Now, they're not connected, the top and bottom portions aren't connected because you have that divider, okay? And then the rails at the top and the bottom, okay, are connected horizontally. So if I zoom out a little bit, you can see this one. Okay, I've already pulled them, but they're all these are the same 5 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but they're actually connected all in a row. And I can continue if I would like to, just to show you, is to remove this whole thing right out. And there you go. That's just a negative or a positive rail. Do the same thing with the other side. Okay, and you can see that they're connected this way. Now if I lay it flat again, and you can see now quite clearly you have these sections at the top, which are the rails that are connected horizontally. Okay, and again, this rail is not connected to this one. They're separate. Then there's this divider here. Okay, and then you've got these little conductor sections here, which have 5 holes and columns, we'll call them. And then they're further separated by this divider. So this is kind of, I guess I'll say it's a symmetrical, object, because right in the center here, where this divider exists, it's the same on both sides. So the top is the same as the bottom, but nothing is connected. Okay, and you can see how interesting that looks from this perspective. So I hope you enjoyed this video on the breadboard.